Alright, hello everyone. My name is Alika Rehan Darmawan, and here I would like to present my assignment for the ERP assignment answers. So there are two problems in this assignment. First is the OLTP versus OLAP server, and second is Big Bang versus phased-in approach. Alright, moving on to the first question or problems is the OLTP versus OLAP servers. So here there are 6 events where you need to decide whether these events or activity are either preferred with the OLTP server or the OLAP server. First is an order entry system that retrieves customer information, invoice information, and inventory information for local sales. OLTP will be appropriate for this activity. That's why, because the activities are relatively small, requires relatively small data, and still can be accommodated with the OLTP server, as it is more of like transactional activity. Next is an order entry system that retrieves customer information, invoice information, inventory information, and several years of sales information about both the customer and the inventory items. As from the get-go, sort of similar from the first one, but the difference here is several years. That's the keywords for me to assign whether this event or activity is either OLAP or LTP, and I decided that this event is an OLAP server worthy because of the several years keyword, where it could means that the data that going to be used in this activity would be relatively bigger, and thus OLAP, which is stands for analytical procedure, would be more fitting. Third is an order entry system that retrieves customer information, invoice information, inventory information, and information to compare the current sell to sales across several geographical regions. Again, the keyword here is several geographical regions. The previous one's about the time, the years, and this one's about the geographic location, where it contains several geographic regions. Therefore, the data in this activity would also be relatively bigger. Thus, OLAP would be satisfied would satisfy this event. Okay. Next one is an order entry system that retrieves customer information, invoice information, inventory information, and accounts receivable information for sales within one market region. This one, despite it only being a smaller geographical location, which is the one market region, it's still a, an OLAP server worthy. Why? Because one marketing region still relatively bigger in terms of data that being stored or being processed compared to like transactional stage, where one marketing region could be several marketing department in that region or whatever. Anyway, for E is for this insurance company that requires a system that will allow it to determine total claims by region, determine whether a relationship exists between claims and meteorological phenomena, and why one region seems to be more profitable than another. For this event, it would be more suitable for them to use OLAP as well. The company needs the system to be able to determine total claims by region, which again is a large data and would only be suitable for OLAP server. Also, OLAP would be useful in discovering the relationship between claims and meteorological phenomena, as stated in the problem, as it have the operational function that it could present detailed information with a new dimension through the drill down function. And lastly, the manufacturing company, which in short, they weren't doing very well. They were lacking of analytical procedure within the company process. So again, it's the OLAP that would be needed for this problem, so that the company would be facilitated by the OLAP server to perform analytical procedures. I'm sorry, within the company to improve the company's performance and would end up in profitability and the value of the company, and so on and so on and so on. All right, second problem is the Big Bang versus phased-in approach. So, all right, so you need to consider data warehousing implication, business culture implication, and disruption to operation, and discuss the advantage and disadvantage associated with the decision to implement new system with the Big Bang approach versus the phased-in approach. So starting out, there are I would split up this answer into four: warehouse, traditional, operational, transition, and lastly the advantage and disadvantages. So for the warehouse, both approach will still need to alter and transform data from the legacy system or the old system to the ERP's data warehouse. However, with the phased-in approach, cleansing of these data could be done more systematically, easier, or like would result in less error that resulted in more clean data or more data as a whole to be transferred to the warehouse of the RP. And then for the operational stage with the Big Bang approach, the process within the DMV became slow, as mentioned in the problem. Lack of customers wanting to get their license or basically doing anything within the DMV because the process are slow. The processes in the DMV are slow, and by using this ERP, because the company, the employees are still confused with the new system, or are not get used to the new system. By using phase-in approach, correction could be done not as a whole, all the DMV as a whole, but could be done in a branch or office wide. So it start out from um, one point to another, then expand it all, so that the process can run, and the process of implementing the new system can be done step by step. And lastly, the transition. With the Big Bang approach, employees are required to transition suddenly because the Big Bang implementation is very fast compared to others. So it's basically like curveball to the employees, where suddenly they need to change the way they work, basically the culture of the working there to fit with the ERP, and it could be easier for some and could be harder. Who knows? But most likely it would be hard because you need to transition, and a lot of the common things that you used to do with the old system are not available, and you need to learn the new system. The phase-in approach would facilitate gradual transition in which that they can do it step by step. Also, for the employees to learn a bit more about the system as the time goes, so they can transition it a bit more, let's say, cleaner, or like um, smoother at the end of the day. All right. So then employees could truly know what they're doing once the ERP system are fully implemented. Thus, the customer would be satisfied. Also, the whole institution would be satisfied, as the goal of the institution could be easily achieved as intended through this new system, the ERP system. And lastly, it's the advantages and disadvantages of these two approach. As correlates relates to the previous discussion about these changes within DMV. So the Big Bang have the advantage of system could be changed faster as it would be done once. The installation of Big Bang would be faster, and there are not a lot of procedures in terms of not time constraint, but procedures that would take up time, so that the system would be quickly implemented throughout the institution or the company. The system can run immediately as it's being implemented swiftly. Then the system can run as long as the system have been implemented. However, the advantages are: first, application could be difficult to cope with time as changes done rapidly, as stated also previously and discussed also in the problem, where employees are not getting used to the ERP system. They haven't mastered it yet, so that the business process became slower and become ineffective as was intended in implementing ERP system. And then there's no turning back to the old system, as the Big Bang system um, requires everything to be installed at one time. Then there's basically no turning back to the legacy system. There are no room of the legacy system left in that system, so basically everything's new. And yeah, there's no way they would switch back or like have a bit of the legacy system in that new system. With the phase-in, the advantages are the users would be able to adapt to the system in a longer period. As mentioned earlier, um, there are some room in terms of time where users could adapt step by step by maybe starting from this section, and then once this section has been implemented, they start to to adapt with the newer, and then as time goes by, they would excel on the new ERP system as a whole, and also started in smaller instance. So as mentioned also earlier, it could start from maybe one department or one branch, and then to another, to another, to another. So there are still some parts of the legacy system, while one department or one section could already start with the implementing the ERP system. So the changes wouldn't be as shocking. And then the disadvantages are: first, both new and legacy system are being used side by side. Even though it have some advantages by doing so, it could also create confusion, which leads to another disadvantage, with the delivery of the system could be unclear, while the two systems, where there might be some confusion whether which to use, or what function uh, the system should be used, and what function the other system or the legacy system should be used, which may cause, like, I don't know, workers confused at the end of the day, because there are too many systems, or at least there are two very different systems that they need to work on. That's all for me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and yeah, see you in class.